I just have a question for you that why is so much of the hate targeted towards Asian Americans and so much of the crimes are targeted towards Asian Americans? Because as a high school student here in the city of Eastville in California, we run a organization called the Chinese American Volunteers Association, and we do a lot of the community service and volunteering, and we see ourselves as very active in the community and doing our part to help American society grow together. And I just don't understand that why is so much of the racial hate, racial violence, and so much of the discrimination by the systems, such as Prop 16 in California, are targeted towards Asian Americans, and what we can do to eliminate this target on our backs. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Peter. Mark or Linda, would you guys like to take that question?
Yeah, sure. Peter, I feel for you because I actually grew up at a time where before 1996, when there was before Prop 209 got instituted, where when I was in high school, there was a lot of discussion about how as an Asian person we're going to get dinged when we apply for college or for jobs because of quotas. And I remember growing up at that time feeling the exact emotions I felt were, is it bad to be Asian? Are we less than? We're not like everyone else. And that feeling of being different is something that I think profoundly was damaging to to my psyche as an Asian person growing up in America. And I'm so sad that right now you're kind of experiencing the same thing. Thanks goodness we fought back Prop 16. But even having that discussion in itself was, I saw the emotions. I saw young girls, young boys from high school that spoke at our events, and they were crying. I mean, tears were coming down their eyes because they felt like, are we less than? And that's a terrible thing. And those are my thoughts. Linda, I'd love to hear yours.
Actually, I'm sorry, Linda, if I may interrupt, before you answer, let me just give a heads up to our friends in the audience. So for those of you who wish to ask a question, given that this is a webinar, could you please use the Q&A function in this Zoom conference and just type in your question. Please also identify yourself. And then, what we're going to do is we're going to give preference to our friends in the media, especially since this is a press conference after all. But for those of you who are not with the press, and if you have a question, we encourage you to ask as well. You could also raise your hand if you'd like. We're right now, we still got plenty of time, so we hope to be able to get to everybody's questions before the end of this press conference, but we will be giving preference to those who are in the media. So Linda, my apologies, please go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I think it's a great question. We actually have been, in our head has been asking that question many, many times. I think it's come to, I think there's two things. The word perpetual foreigner, I think it's not something new to Asians. And I think this is one of the key reason Asians are not integrated into the society, regardless how hard we try. If you watch, after the recent event, there's a lot of people come out and they speak about their experience. Perpetual foreigner is a very consistent theme. And this is something this country need to take a hard look at and figure a way to address it. To some degree, we feel like the current focus on the hate is actually distract the public from having a very serious conversation about why they're happening. Ian and I, we actually had a conversation about, the Asian history in our public systems. I think the lady from the Maryland actually mentioned, you know, the Asian history, I'm talking contributions, have not been very well respected in American education system. Our contribution to this country, you know, since the 19th century, even further, was not well known. We have organized a student right essay about, you know, Chinese American history, and the story after story, people are talking about when they share their story with their classmates, nobody know about those stories. When you don't know we are part of the society, we help build this country, you lack the appreciation to this, you know, this community. And when you look at well, you look at different, you look like foreigner, you immediately think, wow, you know, you're not one of us. Then I want to come down to, you know, the hardships, you know, the Asians being, you know, experienced. Also, you know, quite often they are not being talked about. I don't want to emphasize that because I don't want to fall the prey of the identity politics. But I know through our conversation with the legislature in Washington, I know the lack of knowledge of Asians' contribution, the lack of respect to the Asians' contribution, the also lack of the knowledge of Asians' sufferings. Those combinations make them to pass laws that could punish, could hurt Asians. They feel it's okay. They look at us, well, you live in a middle class neighborhood, you know, you'll come talk to me, you suffered, you suffered the racism. No, that's not. That's why actually I forward them the article, the CNN article about First Lady Lady Hogan. I said, look at her story. That's a similar story to many of us, you know, and you call us to be privileged to pass laws that hurt us. It's not acceptable. You know, you talk about anti-Asian racism, and you are practicing anti-Asian racism right in those laws. And if we don't address that, if as a nation to call out that, look at this, you know, this is a community contribute to the society, and there's those reason right in those legislators' heart, those things would continue. History would, you know, repeat itself. You know, that's why we call action, not empty talks. Yeah, I mean, you have to address, this has been going on for very, very, very long. It's not the past, you know, since COVID-19, it's not the past 4 years. It has been going on for decades and decades. I could say probably every single one of us can recall at least one incident we've been, you know, we're facing those, you know, racist behaves. That's not the past 1 year, past 4 years. Just never, the society never give us a chance to talk about that. And this is an opportunity for to the society to actually talk about that. And I really don't want all the, you know, the anti-hate thing to basically distract us from the opportunity to have a real conversation.
Linda, thanks for underscoring that point. I really just want to just add on that, yes, it's finally time that we're talking about it, but we have so much to talk about, from the racial preferences, from everything. I mean, there's so much to talk about. So thank you so much for underscoring that. Ying, back to you.
Okay, we have a question